the little banner. Dun, da, da, dun. Oh, wait, this is episode 87. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. Well, I guess afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
I've been having a lazy day. This is my first Sunday off in over a month, besides like convention Sundays. So I'm like, I've been playing Twist of Wonderland almost all morning.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Like, you deserve it. I know, I've been so busy. I'm like waiting for my whole day off. Like, oh, do you want me to keep it this way?
No, it's fine. I'm not usually in this corner.
No, we can do this. It's all good. All right. Yeah, we're good. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, I figured like since I have the video of of your guys' performance, we can give people kind of a glimpse of what their competition's like.
I don't talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Lillian Nelson on Facebook says, hello, heyo humans. And Imani Jackson, hello. Oh gosh. Yeah, I would love a day. Yeah. I'm waiting for my day. I might have it sometime next week. We'll see.
No, it's been so nice just chilling at home, and like after this we're gonna make a good lunch and watch Promo Art, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. I know, just like I want a day where I literally just do nothing. And then when I feel like doing something, it's okay. Even if it's cleaning. So
I mean that's why a lot of days I don't do anything. So
I think you're freezing every so often.
Me? Oh, is my internet bad again?
I think so. Is it yours? Viewers, let me know if it's mine, maybe. Or if Chibi's the one freezing up. But I'll go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jinx from Jinx Cosplay. I've been cosplaying since 2001. I'm based in Phoenix area, Arizona. I like to do a lot of video game cosplays. And I have a mug that Chibi got me.
I did not grab my mug.
Yeah. We did just go to Sakura-con in Seattle last weekend. So we will be talking about that today.
Hi everybody, I'm Chibi Raincloud. I'm a Seattle cosplayer, so they came down to my con for once. We're going to talk a little bit about how the con experience might have changed a little bit due to pandemic, and how it went, and how our stuff ran, and how the skit went, like all that fun stuff. So yeah.
Yes. So it was me. So Sam's not feeling well today, but me and Sam went up there. And it was our first time going to Sakura-con. I think it was the first time they had gone since pandemic, right?
Yeah, they decided not to run for the 2 years. So this was their first con back, which was really nice. There was ups and downs, but I think it went well overall.
Right. And I think that's going to be normal. So, I mean, if a lot of people are used to, how their cons were run and things were smooth and this and that, like there are going to be changes because, of course, venue locations have new protocols. Cities will have new protocols. Even the events themselves are implementing new protocols. So that's something that everyone's got to learn.
Right. Because
so
for us, Seattle
actually want to kind of go in a
mandate.
Sorry, go ahead.
But so Seattle took off the mask mandate a little earlier this year within stores and restaurants and some other places. But Sakura-con deemed it important to still have a vaccination and still have your masks on. And they actually, I think they did pretty good. They were a little short on staff, but everybody seemed to really respect the rules and tried their best to wear their mask whenever possible. So I think that might just be a nerd thing. We tend to follow the rules a little bit better than most, but like, I think it went really well. And I didn't catch con crud this year, so I think it worked.
Yeah, I didn't either. And I think I think the reason why con goers are more like open to like precautions is because of con crud. Like, we already know what it's like when there's like 100,000 people in one space. So we know that we can get sick. Cool Gamer says, hi from YouTube. You're all awesome. Thank you so much. You're awesome for tuning in every week. Thank you so much. And Thermo is watching us from YouTube. Hi, she's cuddling up with her kitty. Hope you're feeling better. But yeah. Oh, did you do an intro, Chibi? I don't think you introduced
Kind of. I just said I was Chibi. I'm from Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering. Like, con was so crazy that I am still recovering. Because, like, these crazy kooks, like, so we had con whole weekend. Like I had to drag Sam out of bed at 5 a.m. for the cosplay contest on Saturday. Sunday, I was supposed to run a panel super early, so I was still up. We ended up canceling one of my panels, but
I know.
We'll just go back to the room. We'll have dinner. We'll have dinner with the friends, and we'll just go back to have a good, easy night.
Oh no! I think we're losing Chibi.
I'm so tired because you guys dragged me out on Sunday.
Chibi, is anyone streaming off of your Wi-Fi, like watching anything or?
Shouldn't be. Nope. It's just no. There shouldn't be anything.
It's really weird because you keep freezing, and I'm watching on the Facebook, so I can see like your.
I know.
What about
my internet has literally just been not working this like yesterday. It just shut down for like 2 hours. So
what about your phone data? If you go on your phone, it might be better.
Oh, true. I mean, I live out in the boonies, like you say that, but I live nowhere. So
oh no. Okay, we'll just try and work through it. So if you're having internet issues, no problem. So I'll mention what Chibi mentioned. I think she's gonna go and fix her Wi-Fi. So she was saying that we had dragged them out. So they were super busy the whole time. Cool Gamer says, Jinx, I like your glasses. Thank you. They're my new everyday glasses. So we dragged them out to dinner because they were super busy. So Sakura-con is kind of like, I guess, their home con or one of their home cons. I think ECCC might be their home con, but they had like 6 or 7 panels and the competition and lots of other stuff. And it was just like, hi, hello.
Oh no, I can't hear you though. Why?
You look good and you sound good. So you sound good.
There we go. Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm all like, you sound good and you look good. Yeah.
No, technology. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, this is my phone.
It looks way good.
I know this is it's a 21, the new Galaxy. Like I just got a new phone, so.
Oh, nice. So this might actually.
All of the pictures and videos I took at con are so gorgeous, and I'm like, I literally just took these on my phone.
Yeah, the pictures I took on Sam's phone were really nice too, because she's got a brand new phone. I mean, I have a new phone too, so we all have new phones. But I was just recapping what you were saying. Yeah. So talk about again, like your schedule at Sakura-con.
Oh my God! So. This whole thing started because of the last year that they ran. So the last year that they ran, 2019? Yeah, it was 2019. So me and my partner, Sakura, have been running panels at Sakura-con for years. And we usually get 3 or 4, maybe more. Like we've been doing it for a long time. Well, 19, they only picked one. Like they just basically dropped all of the major panels that we've ever done that we've been running there a long time, including all the 18 plus content, which is what we're really well known for. And so we were really worried that they weren't going to pick up any of our panels. So as a group, my group, the Commanders of Chaos, we decided to basically apply for all of our panels and hopefully we'd get 1 or 2. Well, because Sakura-con didn't have enough people submitting, we ended up getting 7.
Oh.
So we had a full set of panels, including doing the skit competition, which takes place from like, you have to be up at like 5 a.m. and you're there until like noon or 1 when it's over. So like that was our Saturday. So we ended up being really busy. But I mean, like the best thing about being a team is like, so I technically helped out in all the panels, but we were able to kind of split up, and like I had you guys kind of doing the Cost Talk Live panel and I let you guys take charge of that. My partner does really great yaoi panels, and so that was kind of her thing, and I just helped out with hosting. My friend who's really into improv kind of focused on the improv, and then I was there to do like my Dungeons and Dragons panel and stuff. So like after we broke it apart into like groups and kind of got it all set up and knew what we were doing, it wasn't too terrible. They also did really good at scheduling. I reached out to them. This is a good tip if you have a lot of panels at a con, to reach out and make sure your panel coordinator knows if you're working with other panelists or if you're doing other events. Most cons will have a little like, oh, what can we not put you scheduled into? But I sent an extra email out basically going, okay, I'm technically involved with all these panels. Please do not group them together too much because it'll be hard for me to get from one place to another. And so we ended up having like a couple in the morning and then a couple in the evening and then a couple in the morning and then a couple in the evening. So it kind of worked out just the way the day was set up, which was really nice. I think that's the only reason why we survived.
Yeah. And I think if people don't do panels or you haven't done panels, they can, I mean, I think some people like overlook it like, oh, it's just an hour. But no, you've got to prepare. If you want a good panel, if you're a good panelist, you've got to write your panel, prepare it, gather your panelists, or sometimes you're just by yourself.
I had a PowerPoint. Yeah, my Dungeons and Dragons panel had a PowerPoint. I had to update my PowerPoint because I hadn't done a Raincloud for 2 years, so I had to update that completely. I mean, the improv panel didn't have too much, but like all of our panels, we do have a certain amount of setup to do. On top of that, you have to check in early. You have to go and make sure all your mics are working. You have to make sure your projector's working. I mean, yes, there was tech support, and God bless, Sakura-con's tech support was amazing this year. But like seriously, it's so much work, and it's so funny because the Cost Talk Live just before Sakura-con, you and Thermo were talking about how like, oh, don't ever overbook yourself, like maybe 2 or 3 panels a con, especially if you're planning the skit competition. And I'm like, oh no.
You're like, fail, I failed. I failed already. Yeah, so actually, I went to the end of Chibi's D&D panel, and it was really good. I wanted to tell you in person, like, I was so impressed. You were so good. You were so engaging, and the audience was huge. So, like, it was full, and you had lots of questions and great answers. I'm surprised you were up there by yourself, which I would have been like, if you needed help, just another person to just be up there, you should have like asked me or Sam. But like, definitely if you guys do panels, try and have, at least one other person. But you did so well, but I think it would have helped just to have one other person there, just to like, I don't know, if you needed something, you'd be like, hey, I need something, I mean,
I've been doing panels for years, so like for me it's not intimidating, or it's not like I was standing next to my computer so I can just hit my slide button, so it wasn't too big of a deal. Really and truly, it just I was going to have a couple of the other Commanders Chaos with me on that panel, but we decided it was better that we kind of split our powers, and so I took the panel on myself, and then they went and did their own thing. Which was fine because they probably would have been bored through the panel anyways. Plus, they're my players in my personal campaign, and I was talking a lot about dungeon mastering. So I'm like, you guys don't need to be here. It's fine. Go.
I always like to support, because Sam does tons of panels. I like to at least be there.
No, thank you. No, the fact that you actually took some pictures and stuff like from the audience actually was that's more than help for me, because like I was in when we did so my partner does a competitive intro to competitive cosplay, and it's a really great panel. And this year we actually ended up getting Weeru with us. And so I had a friend in the audience, and I was like pantomiming to him, like, take pictures of the group. So
yeah, and good thing you did, because he took pictures of our CTL, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, no, we got some really good pictures, and like that was really great. And like, to be perfectly honest, this con was like panel con for me. Like, yes, I had a lot of panels, but all of my panels, I think it was like 4 out of our 6 had full houses. I know 2 of Sakura's panels they literally turned people away at the door because they just didn't have the room. My improvisation panel, I think, was the same, and then my D&D was a full house. So like, all my panels were just such a big hit this year, and I was very grateful because it was so much fun.
And I know that you guys were like kind of shocked with like the 6 panels, but you guys handled it really well. We just didn't get to see Chibi as much, but let me read some comments before we move on to the next thing. So Thermo says, yes, talk to your coordinator. Phoenix Fan Fusion coordinators encourage it. CTL didn't work, so we had to download past episodes and record outside of the network. So I do have the one that we recorded that I need to just polish, and then we'll post. And then, oops, we lost Chibi. She'll be back. But we did do the live walkthrough of the actual con floor. So if we kind of had to do that last minute because the Wi-Fi connection in our room was like nil. It was like gone. And then Sam says, I have 5 panels for Phoenix Fan Fusion. You have 6 now because we added on CTL. So again, like as Chibi was saying, like, Sam takes on a lot of responsibility with all the panels. And when I was talking about because she had submitted these panels, I think like way back when they had done it like the first time. So we didn't submit CTL. So I was like, hey, we should. And she's like, oh my God, I already have 5. And so I said, okay, I'm going to take over CTL. I'll be in charge of it. You show up kind of thing. Like Chibi was saying, like if you divide up your powers, like, okay, like, Sakura's in charge of this one and Chibi's going to show up. And not saying show up like you just show up for a pass. That's not what we're talking about. Like, obviously we know the content, but somebody else is going to be like mentally responsible and everything.
And
So
you don't you don't have to be like right there to check in, because like for Sakura-con they want you half an hour early. Like their check-in is typically half an hour, and that gives you plenty of time to check over any PowerPoints, your notes, all that stuff. And so like Crosstalk Live, I ended up just like showing up basically last minute for Sakura-con, and then I left immediately afterwards, because when the panel was ending was when my like easiest path to get to where I needed to be was closing, because they closed the dealer hall. So I was like, oh shit, I have to leave right now if I want to get from point A to point B and make it in time.
Yeah, so it works that way. If, you know, like, so for example, if I was like, Chibi, take charge of the, you know, Crosstalk Live panels, she would have been overwhelmed. So, you know, if you plan on doing a lot of panels, make sure you have like a little crew with you that can help you out. And like, obviously we could switch around who's got responsibilities. So I'm the one that's going to be in charge of the CTL panel. And I told Sam, I'm like, if you can show up, like, obviously, you know, please do. If you absolutely cannot, like, don't stress. You know, I know you've got 5 other panels that she's actually in charge of. So yeah, 6 panels, Sam, let me know. And then Michelle says, she says it was a great D&D panel.
Oh,
Michelle
you.
says, hey, you guys, looking great. Thank you for joining in. And Anthony says, hello, you two. How is Sakura-con? We're going to talk all about it this whole episode. And he says, are you looking forward to Overwatch 2 this week? Of course I am. So, yeah. And so we can, what was I going to say? I said something about, oh, gosh. I said something to you, and then I was like, but let me talk about comments. What was I saying?
I don't remember. I guess the next thing, like, so Sakura-con was just like, it was a very unusual con, I think, for me and my typical group. There was a lot of stuff that we usually do at cons that we didn't either get around to or didn't do. Like, Sakura-con's really well known for their guests, and we actually didn't end up seeing any of the guests, though we tried meeting Robbie David multiple times. Just because like just our schedule didn't line up, or we just ended up like, oh, it's too much work and effort. But then we ended up doing like, we got to spend more time in the merch hall, which was nice, even though I didn't spend any money. It was really nice being able to like go around. Like, we went to the concert, which I haven't been able to do a concert in a really long time. And so like, that was really fun for me. I very much enjoyed just kind of the other, like, oh, I get to go see other people's panels, and I get to go to see like other people's concerts, and I did get to walk around, and like, God bless, like, we ended up doing a My Hero group and did some amazing pictures and videos, even though I was only there for like a heartbeat. Like, those are so exciting, and I just keep rewatching like the video and looking at the pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
I know
that's
what you mean.
Cosplay.
Yeah. So what was so because I've never been to Sakura-con, I can't compare it. So I'm going to ask you then, like, okay, so you mentioned some things that you did and didn't do. So tell me what your normal kind of Sakura-con schedule looks like before, like, pre-pandemic.
So pre-pandemic, I think I would put in a lot more free time. Like, I have been working a lot harder, but I also feel like that was the pandemic made me really miss it, because I did run panels and stuff pre-pandemic, but I usually only ran like maybe 3 a con, and then it like helped somebody else with one, maybe 2. A lot more late night content. This year, we actually finally got to feel like we were catching up on late night content, because a couple of years ago, they basically cut all the late night content. And so it was really weird. But a lot of other panels, I used to go to a lot of other people's panels. It just didn't happen this time really that much. But I would say probably meeting guests, like, that was something I used to kind of put time in beside to go like meet the guests, because that usually you can wait line to up to an hour or more. And I usually do a lot more gatherings. I used to do cosplay gatherings, and I was in charge of some of the photo shoots. Like, I used to do Magus, and I've done 7 Deadly Sins, and I've been in charge of quite a few of them for a couple of years. And this year I didn't do any. I just did Original Glaze. That was the only meetup that I was in charge of this year, which I didn't get to meet to. I only think I ran into Kitakarp and Loki for a second, and then like Colleen, but it was still like, that was a nice responsibility I didn't have to worry about. Was like, on top of my panels, I didn't have to worry about any gatherings or photo shoots. The only one that I was like, this is my one shoot, was the My Hero shoot. And that was like super early on Friday morning. So it wasn't even like it wasn't weird scheduling or anything. It was just, okay, this is right before my panel goes, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah. Okay. So looks like it was kind of more of a leisure con for you.
I would
Like,
say, yeah,
more?
definitely. I mean, now I just started really doing competitions with my partner. And once we got together, we started doing more like skits and competitions. Before that really wasn't in my scheduling, but now we are doing it a lot more, which has been really fun. Like, we didn't win anything, but our skit freaking rocked. And like, there were so many people that reached out to us after the competition that loved our skit and gave us really great feedback. And like, we're still waiting for judge feedback, but that's fine. And it was just a really solid experience. It was also my first competition where I had a malfunction. So I think it was a really good learning curve for me.
I didn't see a malfunction.
My armor wasn't attaching. So I wore my armor Friday night to test, and like we did a really good run through of our skit and made sure, because we were all from like, so we had somebody from Canada, 2 people from Washington, and somebody from Arizona. And so we were kind of spread out. So the only time we could really practice is together. And so we practiced on Thursday and Friday. And Friday, everything was fine. The costume wore great. Nothing was wrong. No hiccups. The armor was great. But when I was taking it off that night, one of my magnets fell off my shoulder piece. Okay. So I quickly replaced the magnet, not thinking about like, so the magnet fell off like 4 times during the building process. So I didn't stress out about it because I'm like, okay, it's just very heavy. And I wasn't like, I'm rebuilding my armor now that I know all the hiccups basically, but I put the magnet back on, but I put it out of place just enough that it actually threw off the armor. And so while the next day, first I was like, why is my armor not working? I wore it perfectly fine for like 45 minutes to an hour last night. Everything worked really well. We did our skit practice and everything was fine. But literally while we were in the green room, we were trying to sew me into my armor essentially and trying to get that magnet to stick because I just couldn't get it to work anymore. I tried like all the glues, I tried the hot glue, we tried everything to get that magnet back into the place it was supposed to be. We ended up just deciding to tack the tip of the armor into the shoulder piece of the second piece of the armor, just to hold it in place through the skit. I also ended up breaking my sword on stage. Nobody saw that, thank goodness. It wasn't until we were in the green room that I noticed my sword had broken.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything wrong. So,
which is great. That means we did our job right. Because the one thing, if you get into skits and like stuff, we talk about this in our panel, is like when something goes wrong, act like it didn't. I thought it was a good omen because the 2 skits that I have won, my crown fell off. And so it was kind of one of those like, well, I usually drop or break something on stage and still win. So I wasn't too worried about it. The sword was also like my first 3D print, so I wasn't actually expecting it to last all con. I knew there was going to be a hiccup. So it was kind of rough for me because like, usually I'm the mom backstage. I'm the one like helping everyone out and giving people stuff and like have food and drinks. But I was so stressed out about myself backstage trying to fix my armor that I feel like I lost a lot of like my typical vibes. But like it was a good learning process for me because I was able to get through that. And like obviously our skit turned out just fine, even with all those malfunctions. Bless Sam. I felt so bad because like we brought cards and everything to play backstage because it was kind of quiet and slow. But like because I was so stressed out, we didn't get to do anything.
But no, that's understandable. So I would say that, I mean, I think it's normal for you to have felt that way because again, like nobody's been in cons or big cosplay competitions for 2 years. Yeah. So I can probably guarantee that everybody was probably the same as you. If they weren't, then they're like a god. Like,
right. No, I feel like it was definitely like we talked about this a lot during our Sakura's intro to competitive cosplay. It was definitely a very different feeling in the green room than typical years. Like, so it was definitely a new experience. Less people in the back because they were trying to discourage having extra handlers, and it was just a very, very quiet vibe. They also allowed children in this year, which is something Sakura-con has never done before. So that was an interesting experience. It was just definitely a different vibe, and like it didn't discourage me. Like I still had fun. I'm still very excited working on the next ideas kind of thing. But I can definitely say the pandemic has changed that aspect of cosplay, if nothing else.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I had a thought and it's gone.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We can, if you're cool with it, we can go ahead and play the video so people can kind of see. I was really funny story is like when I used to go to cons in the very beginning. So I've been going to cons since 1996, and the biggest thing, of course, for anybody was the cosplay contest or the masquerade, as you know, as San Diego Comic-Con first started calling it. People would wait in line for forever. When I started like cosplaying, I was like less interested in going to the masquerade because like I was like, not because I didn't like want to, but because I was like, you know, we've been cosplaying all day. I'm tired. I'm not in the competition. I'm going to go home. I'm going to look at the pictures later was kind of the thing. I also thought it was very strange that it was at 10 a.m. on Saturday. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, this is an argument that I feel like we've had with Sakura-con. Like, all the contestants are like, this is the worst time to do a cosplay competition. They've been doing it for a couple of years now. Everybody absolutely hates it.
Yeah,
So I hope it changes.
Like 1 o'clock. Like if you don't want to have it in the evening, like the afternoon is so much better because again, like because you guys got up at 5 a.m. to get ready, and Sam's like, oh, can you film us? Because I showed up. I decided to go to Sakura-con much later. It was kind of a last minute thing for me, so I wasn't like in the, you know, whatever. I didn't care. I'm not in the competition or anything, but they were like, oh, can you record it? And like, yes. And then she's like, okay, we're getting up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, no. So I was like, I'll show up when it starts. I'll, you know, go over there. I'll film
See,
you guys.
for us, the hardest thing was like, so Friday night, my last panel ended at like, it was, I think, 10. So we got back to the room at like 11 something, and then had to have a snack and then like shower and then like be up at 5.
Right.
So like, that was kind of, we got shot in the foot by, oh, by the way, you have a late night panel on Friday, but good luck getting up at Saturday at 5 a.m.
So your like actual quality sleep time was probably only like 3 hours.
Oh yeah, and that was like Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. Like I didn't sleep at all this weekend. It took me a whole week of sleep just to recover.
And then we kept her up on Sunday night. We were like, don't go home. So I went over to record, and I hadn't really been, I mean, other than competing in masquerades, I hadn't been in to watch them in for so long. And I really, really liked the masquerade hall. It was beautiful. It looks like really intense. It was weird because it was 10 a.m., but it looks like it was like at night, you know, 9 o'clock at night or something. So I have a video of me walking around. I'll post it later. But it was really, really big, lots of screens. It was like huge. So there were like 5 or 6 different screens. So if you weren't, you know, up near the front, you could still watch it. Different camera angles, very professional. I was really impressed with the presentation of the actual competition. Yeah.
I'm glad the outside looked professional because it was a mess backstage.
Oh, okay. It looked really nice outside.
Tech support fucked us all over really hard.
Oh,
no, I'm gonna badmouth a little bit. So because this isn't the first time Sakura-con's done this, and I know it's all tech support's problem, not ours. But basically, they lined us up super early. Like we get there, we check in, they got us lined up. They wanted to have the skits to get on stage and like run through, so we had an idea of what the stage was going to be like and run through our audio. Well, 4 people got to go through, and then they had to just get us on and get us off. And so basically nobody got to actually do a tech rehearsal. And when we started this, they said, oh, we are going to have light stuff, so please give us your light directions. And then halfway through, they only said the people that absolutely need light is going to get light. And then by the end, they didn't do any light directions. So many of the cosplayers that had light up pieces. I know there was at least 3 backstage that they were banking on a light show, essentially was their walk on, and they lost it. And Sakura-con didn't even really apologize to them. The coordinators of the cosplay contest and stuff were very cool, and like I could tell that they were just ran ragged and basically told everything last minute, and that just sucks on like as somebody who's judged for competitions and stuff, like that just sucks, and that's sometimes what happens. But like our skit wasn't ruined by it, but I know a lot of people's walk-ons were absolutely destroyed by the fact that they're like, oh no, by the way, we're not doing any of this.
Interesting, yeah, because some of the walk-ons, they seemed a little awkward, but now when I think about it, it might have been like
it was because of lighting.
I could kind of see that something was lighting up. So it's not that it wasn't visible, but it was not the impact I think that they had hoped
for.
No,
because like I was backstage with one of my friends, and like their walk on was really cool, but the lighting definitely, like they had a really cool light up spear that had this amazing, like they spent a lot of time like detailing the way it lights up, and like when you hit it, like it light shoots up. It like it looked really cool, and I'm like it was completely lost. Yeah, and so I feel like that was really rough, and like the reason why Sakura-con needs to get off of the 10 a.m. thing is because they need to spend hours in the morning setting that stuff up, letting people do tech rehearsal, and then be prepared for the afternoon show where they're not going to basically screw all these cosplayers over who worked really hard.
See, that makes sense because then you could go in no costume, like at maybe 10 a.m. You can start your tech rehearsals. People can come in, you know, maybe like everyone.
We basically so we got cut. So we were one of the ones that got cut and didn't get to do an actual tech rehearsal. So we basically got 10 seconds on stage. We got on stage, we found where our placements were going to be because the stage was marked off, and then we had to get off stage.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like you went up, you found out where your markers were, and then you got off stage, which really sucked because we had a big prop that we had to kind of figure out. And literally we didn't get any feedback of, is this a good spot? Can people see this here? Are we in a good location? Like, can you still see what's going on upstage when you're off stage? Because before we have had some direction like that, but this year it was just like, nope, on and off. Just make sure you can get on stage and get off.
Yeah.
So that was really rough. I'm glad it looked really nice and professional from the outside, but I gotta say, like, these are things that happen, and these are things that do happen at conventions. So if you're interested in skit competitions, like, I wouldn't blame Sakura-con all for this because, like, the cosplay coordinator was trying really, really hard, and she's really been pushing for a lot of stuff to change. I just feel like the con itself has dropped the ball on cosplayers for many, many years. So that is the con's fault, not necessarily the cosplay's competition's fault.
Okay, that's good to know.
I've been going to Sakura-con for years, and so I've watched it evolve, but I can't necessarily say I'm happy with the evolution it's taken, but hopefully they're going to start listening to people a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing I'll comment on people who do go to cons. Like, if you do have like serious concerns or would like to see things changed, like there's always that mentality of like, oh, one voice can't do anything. Well, if every one voice was like, one voice can't do anything, that's like 100 voices that are just like,
we're not the only ones who feel this way about the cosplay competition, obviously.
Yeah, so, make sure you voice your concerns because, these events are put on for the public. You hope that, that there's a good reason why they put them on.
Like I said, I still had a blast. I still really enjoyed myself. It was a great learning experience. I'm basically, I don't have a lot of experience in competitions yet. And so that's why I go, is to learn and get better. So I can hopefully stand by my partner who's a master class winner and feel proud about myself. So I also love skits. So for me, it's like spending those 3 hours backstage waiting and doing this tech, like the tech and stuff like that. That's worth those 3 minutes on stage for me. It's not for everybody, but I feel like, so for Sakura-con, for people who haven't been to Sakura-con or don't know anything, Sakura-con is actually ran. It's completely voluntary. It's a no. They don't make money off of it or anything. Which is the best part of it, because a large chunk of their money comes from Japanese embassies in Seattle, which is gorgeous. It's amazing. It's why we have such a very strong anime connection, is because we have these embassies. We get a lot of mangakas that come in. We get some really good Japanese voice actors that come in. The problem with that is the con itself has decided to drift away from its original name, BakaCon, where it was literally a bunch of cosplayers and nerds and anime geeks, and started drifting towards the Japanese culture, which is great on one hand, but a lot of us cosplayers are now being left in the dust. Tech rehearsal, the cosplay contest kind of gets basically we're the last pick. Like, oh, this person get the main stage for their hours, and then whatever's left over is what the cosplay contest gets.
I see.
Yeah, so it kind of feels like cosplayers have had the ball dropped on them a few times. It's still a beautiful con. It's still really fun. I just really hope that they hear the voices of the cosplayers at some point, because it really is a very heavy cosplay con. For people who are used to like Emerald City or PAX, you only see a handful of cosplayers at those cons. Like, not everybody cosplays and not everybody cosplays every day. Sakura-con is one of those cons where 90% of the people cosplay every single day. Like, it's very cosplay driven.
I would say that I would say the ratio of cosplayers versus non-cosplayers, definitely more cosplayers. And I think this is like common for events that, depending on what their focus is, because when we look at events like, so when I say Comic-Cons, I mean any kind of convention that used to be called a Comic-Con, because a lot of conventions are not called that anymore because of, legal issues. But any kind of Comic-Con, I think, is geared more towards the general public. Those are when they bring in the big names, like the movie celebrities. And so, you'll have a lot more people that's the only kind of con they go to. Maybe they're just movie fans. Maybe they're just, so you're going to have a lot less cosplayers. events that are like anime focused, of course, is more like a Japanese culture type of thing. Cosplay is very popular in Japan. So our like same with our local cons like Sabo, Taiyucon that are more focused towards anime. You're gonna have tons more cosplayers. Those are gonna be more the hardcore, convention goers. But I was just like, whoa. And I think a couple factors go into it. Number one, the pandemic. For 2 years, nobody has been to like, in-person events. A lot of people actually started cosplay through the pandemic. So now we've got, now our community has grown because people have actually found that hobby. Number two, within the last 10 years or so, buying pre-made costumes have been so much easier. So much easier. The fact that even like Spirit Halloween mainstream stores have like really good costumes that you could wear to, so now even the general public can do it. So I was just so floored by so many cosplayers there. It was nice. I felt very in place,
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's my favorite thing about Sakura-con is it's so cosplay driven, even though like the con itself doesn't feel like that anymore. Because like another thing is, no matter what panel you ran, you used to get like after X amount of panels, you basically got a free badge. Like they would be like, oh, you're doing content for us. Here's this thing. Well, they recently changed the rules, and now only if you're running Japanese cultural panels do you get reimbursements.
I see.
So even though I ran 6 panels, I still had to pay for my badge, and I'm like, I'm a little bitter, just a little.
Yeah, no, that's fair because
that's
fair because you're providing content for the people that paid to go, So it's like
exactly. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of growing pains. Like if anything out of this pandemic, I feel like every convention is going to have new growing pains that weren't apparent before the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of comments, and then I'll get to the video. So sorry, guys. Thermo says, Chibi was a good con mom. She checked on me quite a lot, even though I was super quiet. Jinx knows how quiet I am in the green room. I go into the zone. I'm the same. Like, I kind of just like to relax and focus.
I was so worried about Thermo. Like, I mean, me and Thermo haven't spent too much time together outside of, like, Costalk Live, but, like, you were so quiet. I was like, do you need something? Water, food, hug?
We're kind of both that way. Like I'm very chatty, but like when I get into like a competition mode, I like to just relax and kind of like get in the zone. So I totally get where Sam was coming from. And Amanda says, some conventions I've been to used to have suggestion feedback panel at the last day with staff. Does Sakura-con have that? They did have one. I didn't know if it was open to the public.
It is open. The problem is it was at 6 p.m. And we decided to have dinner instead. So
I think that you're always welcome to kind of like maybe write to the exhibitor, write to the
That's
organizer.
exactly, yeah. So that's what our group decided is we're like, okay, do we just wait around, go to this panel, hopefully get the chance to talk because we knew a bunch of other people were going to be there to talk about the problems, or do we just write a really well-worded email and send them the email explaining our cases?
And we were like, come to dinner because we had barely seen them. We're like, let's go to dinner. Me and Sam
so we ended up going to dinner instead, which was fine. And like to be honest, actually, the best for how much troubles and like scheduling issues and like how rough it was around the edges, the people who did do the coordination and the people who did reach out and the people who were in charge of like making sure the panels were how they were supposed to be were actually very on point this year. All of them were very professional. All of them were very good about reaching out. We had some issues after con and it was all cleared up very, I wouldn't say quickly, but like it was handled really, really well. And so I have to kudos to some of the staff of Sakura-con. Your guys' panel people are fantastic because they have been doing well behind the scenes, which is really nice. I just hope to see more of that during the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. And Imani says, PFF has so much of that general public thing, absolutely. But geek culture is so much more popular now. It's just so normalized, especially with all the Marvel movies, all those young geeks that grew up, like get to see those on big screen. Ray says, wow, that's nuts. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I overall enjoyed myself. So I don't have, too much criticism to give, but let me go ahead and
my criticism's only because I've been doing it for years, and so I'm a bit of a snob, and so I'm like, they could have done this better. I've seen it done better.
Let me see if I can just put the video in here because it's asked instead of sharing, because I don't know the audio is going to show up, but let me try.
I mean, earlier when you were playing with it, the audio showed up because I was sitting in the waiting room and I heard it. So.
Oh no, I mean for StreamYard, if it'll show up on StreamYard. Yeah, let's see.
I mean, I heard it in the waiting room. I don't know if they'll hear it. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oops, no, okay, we can't do that. So let's just share the screen and see if that works. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know if you're going to hear the audio. Hopefully you will. Let me make sure the volume's up. That might help. So let me know if you can hear it. Play. Can you hear it?
I can hear it, but
Okay.
that doesn't mean anything. It's not very loud. It's very quiet.
I wonder if you're hearing it from, because I've got the volume all the way up.
We're probably hearing it from your mic.
Yeah, you might be hearing it from I wonder if I put my speaker up, will you hear it?
Do it.
Oh, wait. What happened to my sound?
Oops.
There it is. You can barely hear it. I know. Let's see if I can wait, where did you go?
Yeah, we can't hear it at all. I mean, I can just talk over the skit.
Hold on, let me mute you real quick and see if I can do my audio through my speaker. Hold on. Let's try this again.
Dungeons and Dragons, expectation versus reality.
Can you hear it now? Oh, I muted you. Just so you don't echo into the mic.
Our mighty group of heroes have traversed the land together to rid the world of evil. They now find themselves in a deep, dark dungeon. We have the mighty elven warrior from the deep forests of mythical lands, a beautiful and cunning thief from the dark alleyways, the mysterious warlock from plains unknown, and the witty and adorable feline bard from the luscious fields of Nymptopia. They continue onward into the shadowy depths of what seems to be a beast's lair. Players, you hear a snarl and halt in your tracks as the beast appears.
What the heck is that?
My minis didn't show up on time, so I raided my sister's room. Just pretend it's a were-tiger. Let's roll for initiative. 2.
My patron has blessed me with a 7.
That's a 17. Oh, no, 16. 16, yeah?
13, because I have a +2 to my dexterity score.
Okay, the monster's second. Bard, go ahead. I take out my purple blade, the singing sword. Hey, why is it not working?
You have to use the command word?
Oh yeah, back streets back. All right. Okay. I cast vicious mockery. You call that fur? I thought you were wearing a shag carpet.
Why did you even pull out your sword?
Oh, it's just for flavor. Okay, roll for emotional damage? Yeah. Yes, 3! The ferocious beast then leaps at the thief. That's a 16 to hit.
Doesn't hit.
How did it not hit you? You're not wearing armor, your tatas are hanging out.
It's girl armor logic. It doesn't need to make any sense.
Okay, fighter, it's your turn.
All right, I've been excited to try this new attack. Oh, I rolled a natural 1.
Ooh, you slip on a banana peel.
Why in the world is there a banana peel in the dungeon anyway?
Monsters have to eat too. All right, Warlock, it's your turn.
Oh man, this D20 is so pretty. I mean, I could try it, but it nearly killed me last time. This one's new, and I've never rolled it. You don't know if you don't try. Oh, I just can't choose.
Oh, come on and take your turn. Heck, I'll roll your dice for you.
Ew, no! I'm not gonna let you touch my dice with your icky Cheeto fingers.
It's fine. Just give it.
Oh, I know. I'll cast Eldritch Blast and roll both dice.
Well, it looks like we're out of time for this session.
Oh, wait, I didn't get to do anything.
So we'll pick up next week?
You see, well,
You got a really good video. I'm so
Oh, good.
happy.
I'm
You
glad
can
you
actually
liked
see all of us.
Yay!
No, wait, there's a couple of videos floating around the internet, and like most of them are an angle where you can't see all of us or something like that. So that was a really good one.
Well, I mean, at least I knew, who was in it, like what was
That's
on
true.
the stage. I was just a little too low, and I didn't want to be like sticking my camera way
That
up
was
high.
fair.
Yeah, so I didn't get to see like the roles, but it was all good. Yeah, so that was nice, and I would say that. Yeah, I think there was a problem with people not having enough like experience on stage because they kept going through where the lights were.
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks kind of dangerous. So I think it would have been really beneficial if they had given, you guys did fine because, you have experience on stage, but I saw a lot of people kind of have trouble on the stage. So
Yeah, I mean, we did have a lot of new people or like novices in the competition, which is great. And I love seeing new people. They didn't get the chance to be able to see the stage or walk on the stage before or know where they're supposed to be standing or get any direction, which is just part of the learning curve.
It is. And to be fair, I didn't see anything go wrong. So the thing.
Well, to be honest, we actually, so they set us out before our audio started, and we weren't supposed to be in that position yet. We were supposed to basically, I stepped in front of our DM right when he's like the mystic elf, but because they were like, go, 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 and then they didn't start the audio for like 3 seconds, we basically thought fast and just jumped into position. So another thing, soccer, I mean, this happens at lots of different conventions, but sometimes they'll play the wrong audio or they'll play something wrong or they'll start too early. Like these are things that I feel like don't necessarily expect them, but they can happen. And so when things go wrong, just roll with it because nobody knows that our audio started late or nobody knows that I broke my sword on stage.
I would have said that it didn't look so awkward. I did notice like something like you guys started on stage before the audio, but not that's kind of a common thing that, it happens a lot.
We just weren't planning to on our end. Yeah. But like, honestly, it was so much fun. It was totally like, thank you, Thermo, for joining us. That was so much fun. And you really embodied the thief character. We were trying to hit as many tropes as possible. So like female armor, the guy who plays the hot elf girl character, which is why me and our friend, Scott ended up switching voices. I voiced the Dungeon Master, and then he voiced me because we wanted to have that dynamic, which was actually really hard. We had a really hard time, like, because we're so used to listening to our own voices for cues for skits and stuff. And so that was really fun. We found out later that because we've had Scott help us out. He's kind of he's usually our like backstage ninja kind of guy. So this year was the first year that he was actually a character on stage, and he was like, I was so nervous, I was shaking, and I was like, we didn't even notice. You should have said something. And he's like, no, it was great. So, but it was really fun, and I feel like everybody did enjoy it at least a little bit. Which was that's the point. Like, I mean, yes, it's nice to win something, but honestly, that's only part of it for me. I'm also there for the experience. I'm there for the fun. I'm there for being on stage and telling a story, which is what I think I mean, D&D was so popular this year. There was even a booth with dice, that's new to Sakura-con. I thought I was going to be the only panelist running Dungeons & Dragons panels. I mean, there's always been a gamer room with RPG games playing, but there's never really been much D&D at Sakura-con. So this year, seeing so much D&D, it was just a good year to do the skit for sure.
I feel like maybe D&D became popular too because of the pandemic, because you can't go out anywhere and you don't have to even be in person to play. A lot of people do it virtually.
That's what actually ended up changing. So my panel before, when I was running my Dungeons & Dragons panel, it was just an in-person with like tidbits about being online because that's the type of DM I was. But due to the pandemic and my partner were long distance, we decided to just embrace the online D&D. So my panel ended up just basically redoing completely to add a bunch of online stuff. Because I'm like, I can actually talk about this now.
Right. And I had a comment back before we showed the video. Kaide on YouTube said one of the main reasons they changed their name is Baka-con is idiot. So Baka is idiot in Japanese.
Yeah.
Sakura-con cherry blossoms. Would you go to it if you were a voice industry professional from Japan? Totally valid. totally valid, because
Totally
as fans we're like, yeah, Bakacon, right? Baka. And then the Japanese industry is like, what? So that
And
makes
so,
that
like, it always takes place on Easter for us every year, which tends to be around cherry blossom season here in the Northwest. They were just kind of falling out of bloom this year because it was a little bit later than usual, but like, it was really nice because they were in season. So there was a lot of really good pictures in the garden with the cherry blossoms.
And Thermo says, that was better than I thought. I didn't show my undies. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no,
wow.
both me and Sam were kind of like, we got really short skirts.
Yeah, so we are like 10 minutes out to the end. Wow, there was so much more I want to talk about. We can definitely talk more about it later. If you guys have any questions, please throw them in the chat. I do want to share. So I actually, over the pandemic, I met a videographer online. We did a podcast interview with Ayako cosplayer, and we interviewed with oh my god, I can't remember. I think it was the voice actress for Lady D. I'm not sure if it was that or a different thing, but so he did he's a videographer. Obviously he does like cosplay music videos, and he was doing a project called Quarantine Cosplay throughout the quarantine, where he would have people just, send in videos. He would give them direction, and then he would put videos together. So finally, he's been asked, he started going to cons. He's like, hey, are you going to this con? Because he's based in Chicago. And so finally I was like, yeah, I'm going to Sakura-con. So he's like, we should totally meet up. So he made a really cool music video. It's really long, so I'll throw the link in the chat, but I'm just going to show our highlights. So we were in our My Hero outfits, and the funny thing is that, and it kind of worked out this way because the My Hero fantasy group had 2 Kirishimas. So Chibi was one and Mera was the other one. But Chibi was off doing a panel when he came to record us as a group, and then when Chibi came, I'm like, Chibi, get in the front of the camera. So then he did a solo of Chibi, and it looked really great. So
yeah, I think it worked out really well. And like, thank you for letting me just jump in on this video stuff because it was super fun.
Yeah, of course. Let me try and find our highlights first. You probably won't hear the audio. I'm not going to bother putting the audio up. Sorry. But you guys can see it. I'll throw the link in here. So let me just share this.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I also have links on my Instagram. You can go check out Chibi Raincloud on Instagram, and I have a link to that.
And we shared a clip of the one that Sam and I were in, but yeah. I'll throw the link here in the chat. So here is the biggest. You can see it's 11.5 minutes, part 1. Yeah. So you guys go take a look at it on your own. But here's the highlight of Chibi's Kirishima, which was really cool.
Just like, he was just giving me direction, like sit, look up at the sky, turn, look that way, like stand, pose. Like, they were such simple instructions, but it looks so cool.
Yeah, and then let me find our group. Where was our group? Oh my god, I should have had this ready, guys. Oh wait, here it is. So it's gonna be after Zelda, and oh, there I am.
I also have a cute video of me and Jinx to share at some point.
I love that Bakugo and Genus, like. So that was a lot of fun. I love doing cosplay music videos. I love watching them. I'm going to throw the link in here to the video so you guys can all see it. Subscribe to Justin.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know what Mer's social media is, but it's Plued online, and then Tiger Lily Cosplay on Instagram.
Dark Hunter.
Best Genist. Dark Hunter is Mer, and then Tiger Lily Cosplay is the Best Genist. And the Bakugo is Plued, and then of course Thermo and Jinx, and then Chibi. So,
and I also posted a picture of us on our Instagram. If you want to just click there, I need to update it with Lily's screen name.
She jumped in.
Yeah, you can find us there too. And I think he's got the link. I think he's got literally everybody's credits in the chat.
Yeah, he does. He's just freaking spot on. I was so shocked. He has all the cosplayers, and like, I want to work with him again. Like, I can't believe he's out of Chicago. I'm very sad that he's so far away, because honestly, that was such a fun experience, and I've been wanting to get into videography a lot more. I mean, I joined TikTok at the beginning of last year to try to teach myself how to do this. So I got a couple of videos I'll be posting of me and some of the Cos Talk Live and stuff like that. So
yeah, your portrait was so good, because he was like, "Oh my god, this looks so good." Like,
he was just like, "Stand, okay, now look that way." Okay, now look that way. And I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever you want."
And he was like, "Oh my god, this is so good."
No,
it was so cute, actually.
I love it.
You showed up right at the end of our shoot, and I was like, "Wait, don't go!" So anytime you guys, as cosplayers, can get in on a music video shoot, they're a lot of fun. I've been in. My favorite, of course, is Bros and Cons. They're local.
I
They could have
literally,
moved
when
on.
I go to Arizona, I'm like,
But
I'm
they're
going there
moving
at a
to
time that I can work with them.
They're moving to California.
No!
I know. I know.
Okay, well, I guess I gotta plan a trip. That's fine.
They'll
I'll go
come
plan
back.
a trip.
When they come back, we'll try and see if they can come back when you're there and we can do a shoot together or something. But I've worked with What DeFunko at WonderCon and Justin. So a lot of fun. If you can get into a music video, they're just a lot of fun. And it's just so cool. I'm the same. I'll cut all my parts and keep it together.
Anybody like hasn't had experiences working on like doing professional photography for cosplay, or reaching out and doing photography at conventions. I don't do it at conventions quite as much as I used to. I used to do it with almost all my costumes every con. I also had some friends that were photographers though, so it was very easy. Now I just have my amazing partner who takes fantastic pictures. So we kind of just do pictures of ourselves, so I don't pay the price anymore. I tend to buy my cosplay photo shoots out of conventions. I do a lot of shoots outside of conventions. Just because I'm a locationist. I like having like my Haru was at a beach and my Delit's in the forest. And like, I tend to like that, having that, but there's a lot of really good photographers who can make it look like there's not a single person around you. I mean, like that Kirishima, like all of our videos taken, we were out in the garden and there was hundreds of people surrounding us. So he was amazing, but I do recommend like do it once, like even if you bought the cosplay, like do one really cool photo shoot with it. Cause that will kind of change your perspective on like, for me, it was a lot of like my self-view, like doing these videos and stuff. Like it makes me feel prouder of my costume because I get to see it like not from me in a mirror going, well, I could have fixed that. It's seeing somebody else's beautiful art and going, oh, I built that. Or, oh, wow, I got that and I loved that.
Yeah. And how they captured it. And seeing it in motion too is different than pictures because,
definitely.
You know, we work on a costume 360 degrees, you know, it's like it's meant to move, you know, and I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments of cosplay is taking a 2D and making it into real life, like actually making it function. Like that dumb little hood I made, I actually used a pattern. I'm going to link the pattern what I used, but I was like, okay, I need to now make this work in the real world. So I had to add wires and stuffing and pin it to my head. And but I was proud of it in the end. But yeah, so if you guys have any last questions, we've got 3 minutes left. I've posted the video. Please take a look at Justin's work, like and subscribe. He's really cool.
So good.
He does travel around quite a bit. So he might be at a convention that you're at. So if he is, like, hit him up. We also got photos by Eurobeat Kasumi. He's a very dear friend of mine. I've known him for a very long time. So we posted some of those on our Instagram. I'll post more. And Sam, Thermo says, Lena and I are in a Netflix show because we accepted a video recording. And I didn't know this. And I saw them. And I was like, what?
Which one?
It was like a magic show. It was like this magician. And he was just going, he was going to a convention. Like it was an episode where he went to a convention. So it wasn't even like a convention show or anything. And I'm like, wait.
I know that's cool.
Yeah. And then Amanda says, oh, thank you for sharing your experiences with Sakura-con. I'm going to actually probably write up a blog about it because I just have a lot of experience, a lot of feedback on it because I used to travel a lot for cons way before the pandemic. So I have a lot of, I thoroughly enjoyed it. There are some things obviously that could be redone, but I think every event's going to have that.
No, that's exactly it. There's always going to be good and bad. And like, yes, I made some like initial posts about my experience at Sakura-con. I'm probably going to be doing a lot more though. I want to discuss a little bit more in depth of how our panels went, and I want to discuss a little bit more in depth about how the skit went, and some photography posts and stuff. I just got to say, because like, so me and my partner actually met through Sakura-con, and so Sakura-con, we've also been doing it for years outside of each other and together, and so it's been a very important con to us. And before this convention, we were actually discussing it being our last one, just because we haven't liked the direction it's been going in. There are as many downs as there was ups the last time we were there. And so we were like, well, maybe we'll go to this con because we want to have a convention after a pandemic, and they were actually being safe about it. So we're going. But this Sakura-con was so good that it changed our mind. Like we were like, no, this experience, like even with the downs, was amazing. And I'm very proud of all the hard work that we put into it. And we got a lot of like really good feedback about basically come back. So for us, this was just like the tip of the iceberg. And so as much as I was complaining about how the text rehearsal went in the skate competition and stuff, I still want to do it again. I still want to go back. I'm already decided, like we're already planning basically some more skits and competitions and other panels and ideas. We're talking about making our panels better for our next convention. it kind of just lit a fire underneath us. I didn't get, well, so far, I'm gonna knock on wood. I didn't get the con depression, like when you leave con and you like
Oh
kind of
yeah.
feel out of it because you're like, oh man, I miss my people.
Yeah.
Instead, I was just so hyped up after this con that I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I'm building next. I'm gonna start picking out my fabric. I'm gonna dive right in because I know exactly what con I'm going to next. So it was very refreshing going to a convention that just lit a fire underneath me and like I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're gonna go a little over because there are some things I wanted to say about Sakura-con that I really
Go
enjoyed.
ahead. I talked way too much. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine because obviously you're the one that's gonna have the better experience because you had the before and after. I just have the first time experience after the pandemic. So a couple of things that I really liked about the con, and again, I don't know if this is standard or whatever, but I liked it regardless. That there was a dedicated staff person for each panel, and they were very attentive. You get lucky if you have some staff check in sometimes at other conventions that you're even there. But they were very attentive. She was like, is there anything that I need to know about this or this and that or blah, 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 is, so that was very good. I also liked that. And I think this would be bad for a first timer if they had no idea what was going on. But because Sam had been to ECCC and knew the convention center, she knew where everything was. I liked that things were kind of separated. So the artist alley was in its own space, which made the dealer's hall more spacious. The aisles in the dealer's hall were very big, which I liked. I just didn't like that the artist alley got very crowded, which is great because it looks like, a lot of people like sold out of stuff, which is amazing for the artist alley, but it was very, very, very crowded. So I like that it was in a separate space, but the space they had, I think, was still too small.
Agreed.
Yeah. And that's pretty much, those are the two things that I did enjoy, that things were spread out, because then, of course, with the whole pandemic and crowds, people are very, uneasy about it. So I appreciated that. I don't know if that's standard or whatever, and I think people that had never been would find that to be annoying, but I liked it.
Sakura-con, they're pretty serious about their panelists and their panels. They've always had a check-in person and stuff like that. This year was actually, I felt like it was a little sloppier than most years because they were low on staff. But to be perfectly honest, I had a mic lose power like halfway through Sakura's panel, and like within 10 minutes they had a new battery and they were like, here, you're good to go.
Usually
so like they did great.
And I'm not trying to single out other cons, but usually other cons you just make do.
Right. No, exactly. You just have to wing it. Hopefully it goes well. No, I have to say, like, running panels at Sakura-con and Emerald City is like why I got addicted to running panels, because I'm usually treated really well. I'm usually given that extra feedback. The one thing I like about Emerald City is they give you water bottles. They don't do that at Sakura. But like, other than that, like having the tech support and having somebody there, and like at one point I was setting up for my panel and I had somebody asked, like my room mod came over and was like, do you need tech support? Should I call tech support? Do you want me to grab tech support? You know what, let me just call tech support. And like they were so like just very focused on making sure your panel was going to run perfectly.
Good. Yeah. So because when we do panels locally, we've kind of started, and Lena's usually the equipment carrier, and we've actually had our own projector, our own speakers. Like that's how it is usually for us, is we kind of wing it ourselves. But that was really nice that they had everything set up, and it was so professional looking. It was great.
Yeah, the only thing is no Wi-Fi. Like that was the hardest part, is like there's some places in that building that you just have no service whatsoever.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, because I think I wasn't in the panel process, but I think that you guys had requested it for CTL. It just didn't happen. So
no,
that way.
Well, the thing is like that you can't request it. Like you can request like PowerPoint, like the projector and stuff for equipment, but they're like Wi-Fi, you're on your freaking own. And I asked like, hey, can we be in a different part of the building that's easier to access? But then they put us at the very, very bottom of the deep building, which has no power.
In the basement.
So
like, get data. Like, because Sam was like, maybe we'll just go off of our data, off of our phones. We couldn't even do that. So I will post it when I get it kind of polished up. Amanda says, thank you for sharing. Oh, I think I already read that. So I'm going to throw in the chat, guys, our Discord. You're welcome to join it, even if you're not a cosplayer. Yeah, we, talk about anything, everything.
I've been dead tired, so I haven't been on, but I promise to be more attentive to the Discord starting next month.
I need to be on it a lot more too. So no worries. But come join, bring your friends. And we are going to be setting up a little more of a schedule. This spring has just been so crazy for all of us. And then May, forgive us, but May is a big month for Phoenix cosplayers, of course, because of Phoenix Fan Fusion. And now we might have some news coming out soon that's going to make us even busier. Poor Chibi's going to be watching from afar, being like, guys, what are you doing? Wake up.
It's okay. I'm just happy my boss has been giving, so we trained a new manager so I can get more Sundays off. So I'm like, yeah, I could be here.
Yay! So yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jinx Cosplay. You can find me at jinxcosplay.com, or you can find me on social medias at the Jinx Cosplay. And Chibi?
I'm Chibi Raincloud, Chibi_Raincloud spelled as is. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Original Glaze.
Yes. And Cost Talk live streams every Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight or Mountain Standard. We stream on 3 platforms at the same time: Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to our YouTube, please, so we can hit 100 and get our own URL. And we have some really exciting stuff coming up. If you are going to Phoenix Fan Fusion, yes, we have confirmed we will be doing a panel. More information will be coming soon. Just keep an eye out for that. And yeah, just next week, I don't know what we're doing yet. I'm like, Sam, what are we doing next week? But she's not here. So just keep an eye out. We'll be posting more stuff from Sakura-con. And
I may or may not be on that panel on the next Cost Talk Live.
And Carlos says, have a good day. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you so much. Check out Justin's video, guys. Keep an eye out for more photos from Yurabi Kasumi. And we will see you next week. Bye.